I've told you the submarine that almost nuked Nevada story. Okay. All right. You understand?
The time your sub almost nuked Nevada? I have told that story multiple times.
Sometimes. Okay. All right. Tashigi is the big winner in the Alabasta arc.
That is a take.
And not only is she the big winner comes in the falling action and the resolution of the entire arc. And as I sat back and I looked at it, I said, we learned the most about Tashigi and Smoker and made them really interesting characters to watch. And I'm really hoping we see more of them in the future.
Okay.
And the growth of Usopp.
Uh-huh.
And the final nail in the coffin so far of the reason why Nami is Nami. I was so disappointed in Nami in this arc.
Okay.
So welcome back
to Pork Chops, Rice and Peaches. That was a lot.
I'm Richard.
I'm Noah.
And we are back with One Piece and the Alabasta arc. And
yes.
and this
the
is
entire thing.
The entire thing.
Lot.
Well, so when I first saw how much was coming with Alabasta, and I realized it was all of this, I looked at Noah and I said, we can't do that in one video, and then I realized how much of this arc is fighting.
Yes.
And so much of the arc is fighting.
Yes.
And so when I first read this, I enjoyed the story.
Yeah.
I laughed with the story. There's a lot of humor in this.
Oh, yeah.
It's, you know,
I'm not saying that was a bad thing. No, just letting you know that's going to be a trend.
No, I get it.
We've talked about it.
Artwork doesn't disappoint. Mm-hmm. Nice twists and turns and I just enjoyed the story and probably the thing that I like the most about this in terms of the Straw Hat crew is how they got separated.
Okay.
And how they each had to, in teams, rely on themselves, rely on each other, and figure out how to get through the fighting challenges that they are because each one takes on two agents of Baroque Works, two upper agents, numbered and weekdays. Of course, you know that Sanji's going to be Sanji, and you know that Zoro's going to be Zoro, and you just they don't disappoint.
Yeah.
They do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they're very reliable when it comes to if there's a fight, those two are reliable.
They are, and so you get that. But it was so interesting to see out of the gate, Chopper just trusts his instincts, does what Chopper does, and he fights and he wins. And he fights against a very challenging couple of opponents. And the interesting thing is that, what's the quote early on that Usopp gives Chopper about run when you have to?
I know which one you're talking about.
I
don't know the exact. I don't know the exact.
Do your best. Oh, here is it. Usopp tells Chopper, do whatever you can. If you can't win, it's okay to run. Do your best. What Usopp doesn't do is he doesn't run away. He runs, but he doesn't leave the fight and he doesn't abandon Chopper. So I'm skipping over a whole bunch.
This is how. Hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is how we do it. We'll come back around to the whole thing.
Yeah, we just these are the things.
Everyone who's seen a video of ours knows how this is going to work.
We're kind of backwards. Start in the middle and then work our way around. But the thing is, these are the things that are on my mind. These are the as I sat back and I looked at this whole thing, and when I went back to do my reread, it was like. Okay, what do I really want to talk about here? Because there were very little surprises in that Vivi might have had this fantasy being tempted to just leave Alabasta and go join the pirates, but everybody, you knew she was. I knew the bomb was in the clock tower.
Yeah.
Everybody knew the bomb was in the. It was like it's like you can't have a pulse and not know the bomb was in the clock tower, and so. The question isn't, are they going to figure it out? Is how soon are they going to figure it out? Stuff like that.
When are they going to figure it out?
All right. So, and then I'm going to, I don't know how many more of these are going to happen. So I'm going to just get this, cleared up out of the way right now.
Okay.
I have a bone to pick with you. All right.
This is becoming a trend. I think in the past 2 videos, you've been like, I got a bone to pick with you.
Well, okay.
All right, hit me.
All right. I remember looking at you on camera and asking if Miss Sunday was Robin, and you saying no.
No, that did not happen. I'm going to call BS on that. I do not remember that. If
it didn't happen on camera.
If that question was, it definitely didn't happen on camera. At least I didn't say no. All right. I would not have said no on camera. I would not have said no on camera. That would have been one of those stupid moments where you say something, I wait for you to look back down at your notes, and then I do the Jim from The Office look to the camera because they know my reaction. I've seen the comments. You guys know. You guys get it. It's great.
But I do know that it happened off camera at least once. So here's the gig. Here's my only gig. Now this goes all the way back to they're leaving their last adventure, and Igaram gets killed.
Yeah, he gets killed.
Because I remember looking at you and saying, does he really die? Because
that sounds more like a conversation we actually had.
Well, we did have that conversation. Yeah. We did have the other one off camera. But anyway, the
I don't remember you asking me if All Sunday was Robin. I don't remember.
Well, the only thing...
Are you sure this wasn't a mom thing?
No, I'm positive.
Are you sure you didn't ask Mama?
Oh, by the way, you want a little rabbit hole? It's a little rabbit hole for you guys. All right. Y'all, if you've been with us for a while, know that Mama Peaches made an appearance on the channel to talk with Noah about the whole anime run.
Yeah.
I have never seen the episode because it's got so many spoilers in it.
Yes.
Or potential spoilers. Right. And so I've never seen it. But I do know that I think it was you guys gave her the nickname Mama Peaches. We didn't.
There were so many different names in the comments. I picked the best ones and left it up to them, and it was overwhelmingly Mama Peaches.
Right. So, if Mama Peaches was a fan favorite, I was this close to getting her on camera tonight. We had it set that it was going to be the three of us at the table, and she backed out at the last minute. She had a legitimate reason. It was a medical reason, and so she's not here. But if you would like to see Mama Peaches join us for the next arc, which she seems inclined to do.
Not the next arc. She wants to join us for Water 7.
Water 7? I thought that was the next time. Okay.
It's not the next arc.
So if you would like to see her for Water 7, you've got to leave comments. You've got to let us know we want to see more Mama Peaches because, I think it would be.
She'll do it if you pressure her.
Yeah,
peer pressure. Online bullying. Let's go.
you know that you've never met... maybe besides yourself, a person less affected by peer pressure than your mother.
I know.
It is just not something that she
I know.
But if you see Mama Peaches and me on camera with Noah, you'll understand why he is the way he is, because you'll see what he grew up with.
Okay, so bone to pick with me.
Well, right. so we... Way back, this whole thing started with you introducing me to the world of So there's I recognized her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, this is This is Robin. This is right. And so
you've been asking if you asked if several people were Robin. You asked if several people were specifically your words were is this person the archaeologist? I think it was Alvida.
It was not Alvida.
When he arrives with the chick with the black jacket.
Yeah.
Right. Which I'm waiting to see. Is that Robin?
No.
Okay. I think you've asked that before.
Yeah, it's not Robin.
Okay. So anyways,
I never know.
There is at least been once where a female character showed up. We will find this. I will go through our catalog because there have been seveul times where you have asked if a character was, you never asked me if Fall Sunday was Robin.
If we open up an episode and I have a plate with a dead crow on it, you'll know that I was wrong.
We'll figure this out.
Okay. Anyway, but I was completely not surprised to see Igaram come back. I just wasn't, because there was no body.
Yes.
There was an explosion and no body. And then let's just face it, I don't think anybody dies in this series. I'm expecting Lizard Boy to come back, Arlong. I don't care that the entire building fell down on him. I mean, because you see all these people laying on the ground and their eyes are white and and the whole bit, but they all have a pulse, and so I'm just like, okay, if this is just going to be the thing that they do, that they get defeated but not killed, that's fine. I can live with that. I can accept it.
I think it's one of Oda's flaws is that he has a hard time killing characters.
Yeah, okay.
He has a very hard time killing characters. If it's in a backstory, he'll kill him, no problem. But in the present day, he has I think it's one of those. It has taken a noticeable effect in recent years.
Gotcha.
Both positive and negative. So yeah.
So my controversial opening take, because there's so much in this episode. Okay, my strong opening take.
Yeah.
These characters, there was character development in the characters that needed to develop, and there was characters performing the way they were supposed to perform.
Yeah.
Luffy getting his butt handed to him by Sir Crocodile so many times, right? But he said, but then he figures out a way of making it, and he comes back I think 5 times. He comes back before he finally defeats him.
It's 3 rounds between him and Crocodile.
But at the end, there's 2 more points. But
that's all one continuous thing. Yeah.
Crocodile asks the question that so many Bond villains have asked, especially Blofeld. Won't you please stay dead? And he doesn't. It was great. I mean, it was just fun. But anyways, Smoker's got a sense of justice and of right and wrong, and as he's Tashigi's mentor, he's saying 2 things to her. 1, you've got to toughen up. If you're going to do this, you've got to get tougher than you are. But he's also saying, serve justice. Don't just follow rules blindly. Don't follow orders blindly, and which makes Smoker a real interesting character, and the fact he's like the Qui-Gon Jinn of One Piece.
That might be your more controversial take, but
okay. So
you're gonna love Garp.
Am I? Okay. So
I mean, you liked him.
Well, just follow the Force, not necessarily what the
Jedi were saying.
What the Jedi Council was saying, right? Follow the Force, right?
Follow your
He's saying follow justice.
It says follow find your own sense of justice,
right?
Something along those lines.
And then he leaves and he turns the whole situation over to her and says, "I will trust whatever you come up with."
Yeah.
Right. Whatever decision, and then he stands by it.
Yeah.
And she's humiliated, but both of them did the same thing. They both recognized that the Straw Hat Pirates are not your standard pirate.
Yes.
And they both recognized that they're doing things differently, right? And they're and so they both, were like, he's telling her, mission accomplished, you did your job. I mean, so when I sat back and I thought about this whole thing, and I realized we're in the falling action resolution portion of the arc, and I realized these 2 are the winners of this whole thing. It was a foregone conclusion that Vivi was going to win, that this was going to come out. So I'm looking for where is the real surprise here, and where is the real the meat in its this moment at the end. And then there's the other aspect of it, which is the whole issue of, do they get an award for something that they didn't do? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, there's another layer to that.
And Smoker's response to that was tell them to take the award and pack sand with it. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. And so much character in that, right? All right. Right. Okay.
Oh, you are going to love future material.
Okay. All right. But you know, I look through, I comb through these things and I look through this and I read it and I'm looking for these nuggets and I'm trying to find it. And this one came to me about 3:00 this afternoon.
Okay,
I mean, as I was putting the bow on this, and here's the problem was, I had nothing to say.
Yeah.
I finished this entire Alabasta arc and I was like, I got nothing.
Yeah, but did you enjoy it when you read through it?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Now, that's not 100%. Okay, look at all these notes. It's not like I have nothing to say.
It's not like you have nothing to say, but
and so that was a real interesting one. I've told you the submarine that almost nuked Nevada story. Okay. All right. You understand?
The time your sub almost nuked Nevada. I have told that story multiple times.
Okay. All right. Let's go down the way back. So I'll do the 30-second version of this. I served on a submarine that I learned this story secondhand from a couple of torpedo men. But let's just say that if they're telling the truth, we came within maybe 15 or 20 seconds of nuking Nevada. That's all right. Okay. Yeah. And that the torpedo man that discovered the mistake is the true hero that saved the moment because he wasn't involved in this setup.
Yeah.
And so he stumbled half asleep into the torpedo room where a launch was about to start, which was supposed to be the launch of a dummy weapon that was just going to fly to a target and hit it, and said, hey, we're missing one of our nukes. Where is it? And allegedly, it was in the torpedo tube. So rather than the people who were responsible for the setup of that potential devastating mistake, rather than being reprimanded, they were given awards by the Navy. and we all stood at quarters one day, a few months later, on the pier and watched these two get awards, an award for which only one of them should have gotten an award, and the other one probably should have been demoted, for that one. But it's all allegedly. I got the information secondhand, but I do remember being at that awards ceremony, and I thought of that as I read this section of the story because Smoker did the right thing.
Yeah.
Don't take credit for something that you didn't do, and don't take credit for something that you didn't earn.
It's the don't commit stolen valor.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. So, moments that I picked up on that I thought, were important. We meet Ace, and we get his full name, Portugaz D. Ace. And at this point, Ace. And you've got Monkey D. Luffy, and Dr. Kura in the flashback had said, have you ever heard of Gold D. Roger? And in response is Gold Roger, is that what he's called now? And so this kind of almost confirms for me that that Gold Roger is family. That's the only thing I can come up with at this point. Now, I know you're not going to tip your hand. You guys, you can do, I'll look down. You give the look. Go ahead. Give the look. Moment, look away. Let's just say that I'm looking forward to this playing out. Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing more about this and how this whole thing plays out because it's Nico Robin, Miss All Sunday, who asks later on in his story, why do you fight like a D?
Pull up your note because
it's going to be one of those big.
Going to assume it's for the.
Why do you fight as one whose name is D? It's note number 5, which means
He's got them numbered.
Okay, somebody in the comments of one of our earlier videos noticed how many of these tabs I have.
Someone said you didn't have enough.
Yeah, they did. Well, okay, so... But
I agree.
It's this right here. Why do you fight as one whose name is D?
As one of those whose name is D.
Yeah. Okay, and so I mean, I was just like, now these things are like just these big neon lights flashing, you know.
Yes. Big neon lights. Pay attention to me.
Yeah, pay attention to me. But, you know, interestingly, okay, look at Luffy's reaction. Now, obviously, you know, he's recovering from getting his butt kicked and he's bloody and he's laying in the sand, but he's like, D? Question mark? Like, he doesn't know. That you can't take out of this, he doesn't know. So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
he has no idea what she's talking about.
Right, so she knows. And there's an interesting thing. It's like, you know, Harry Potter walking around. How come everybody knows more about me than I do?
Yeah.
You know, Luffy's got that same thing going on there. So I found moments like that really, really interesting. But you know, I'm not certain that I need to go through. I don't know that I need to go through a blow by blow like I usually do, because as I went back and I re-looked at this, we've got to find out how the piece of paper that Ace gives Luffy plays out in the future. Mm-hmm. The fact that I believe he had Nami stitch it into the brim of his hat. Again, that whole play of Nami being trusted with the hat, comes to play. The interesting thing that All Sunday makes a point of giving the hat back to him in the desert.
And you remember she took it from him when she appeared on their ship.
Yes, she did
the first time.
She clearly knows how important it is to
her. She got away with taking the hat.
Yeah, well, you know, but it kind of sets her apart. It's very clear, and it's been very clear and puzzling to me from the beginning, why All Sunday isn't like all the rest of the Baroque Works agents, because she clearly isn't. She takes the attitude of like, it wasn't my assignment to kill you, so I have no reason to fight you, and she gets on her boat and she drives away. You know, that's a thin excuse for not doing something. All Sunday's been different from the beginning, and she carries that through this entire time. So when it finally is revealed in the text who she is, I was like, okay, that finally answers the question, you know, but she's not your standard Baroque Works agent.
Yep.
She's another Vivi. She's another someone who's successfully led a double life inside the organization. And so I enjoyed the King and Igaram in a backstory discussing whether or not Vivi is too soft to rule, and the King says that could be good for Alabasta. It's interesting that Vivi has this clear understanding that Alabasta is not the throne, and it's not the palace, and it's not the king. Alabasta is the people.
Yes.
And so this entire time she's been fighting for the people.
Yeah.
That's good. Luffy in the desert at the tree where he says, I'm not going any further, I want to go fight Sir Crocodile, was a delightful change to the story. It was an unexpected twist.
That is a top tier moment.
Yes, it is
for everyone.
Oh, good.
I think that is a very, very popular moment in
yeah,
just overall that the entire conflict. It's such a well done inter-party conflict between him and Vivi. It's so good because it completely flips the script from when Vivi did it to him. It finally came back around. So in Drum Island, when they pull up and she's like, "You're a pathetic excuse for a captain."
Oh yeah.
And she's like,
I forgot about that.
You need to learn diplomacy. This is the reverse. This is Luffy going, all right, I learned diplomacy, but that's not going to save you here. I'll go into this more, but it's coming full circle. It's that whole dynamic coming full circle. It's so good.
Totally missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and it plays into the larger, what I believe to be the larger theme of the arc. So,
well, you know, so Luffy. There's a couple things that Luffy continues through this whole thing, and then one of this is, if you're my friend, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to fight to the death, and if I die trying, that's okay. But you're my friend, I'm going to help you. So that's pretty much cemented as one of his character traits.
Yeah.
Okay, and he does this, you know, in this, but. It's very interesting that he had to help her see that she didn't want to admit that she wants Crocodile destroyed. And he exposes her total and complete naivete in that she believes that she can do this without blood loss, you know, without loss of life. And he's like, you're crazy if you believe that.
Well, there's another level to it.
What's the other level?
So...
dive in. Pull your notes up and dive in. It's the appropriate time.
So the whole thing... of I'm actually going to check something in a little bit too.
Okay.
But the whole Alabasta story, from what I've read, from what I got out of it, what I think is the intention of it, is a theme of duty and a theme of sacrifice, and with Vivi being the linchpin.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a very, you're right. That very definitely is.
So Vivi has a duty. She has a self-imposed duty to the people of Alabasta as their princess to save them, and she wants to make sure none of them get harmed in the process. She wants to stop the rebels. She wants to stop Crocodile, and she wants to make sure no one has to die.
Right.
We see this nice clash between Vivi and Luffy. Vivi wants to selflessly put herself in danger and save her people from more bloodshed. She is willing to sacrifice herself for her people because she believes it's her duty.
Yes.
Luffy understands better now that some situations cannot be resolved violently, but he also is watching her and realizing some situations will not be solved peacefully.
Yes.
There's a time and a place for negotiation. There's a time and a place for violence, and he's learned from her when to use words, and now he's here to show her there is a time and a place to use fists.
Yes. I wouldn't have put it that eloquently in like third reading versus first reading.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of perspective. So here's where I continue with it because my notes are again all over the place.
No, go ahead.
Vivi, to repeat, Vivi doesn't want her people to die for her, and she doesn't view her life as more valuable than her people's. Because she has been in and among them. She views herself as one of them. But here's the thing, but that's very narrow-minded because she is a princess. She is royalty in a kingdom that is run by a monarchy. She is one of the most important people to keeping stability in the kingdom. She's one of the only people with the power, influence, and resources to ensure peace comes to the kingdom. As a princess, she has a major role to play in her kingdom's future. And this is assuming that they're benevolent, which Cobra and Vivi do prove that they are fairly benevolent rulers overall throughout the course of this, that as far as monarchs go, they're pretty dang good, you know.
Why is his name Cobra? I mean, it just invokes a level of danger.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, I don't know. As a princess, she has a role to play in the kingdom's future. She does not see it. She does not understand her own value in this scenario.
Yeah, you're right.
Her arc in this story is learning to accept that not only are there people who are willing to fight for her, but as a princess, they are willing to die for her because she represents what they are willing to protect.
Okay.
She's a representative of Alabasta, and they know that by protecting her, they can protect Alabasta. Okay. You see this with Pell. You see this with Igaram. You see this kind of with Koza. Is it Koza?
Koza, the rebel leader?
The rebel. Because there's a whole flip side to this with Koza as well. And they believe, the people who, and Luffy is fighting for her because she's a friend. She doesn't want to accept the fact that people are willing to fight and die for and sacrifice themselves for what they believe is their duty to her.
Well, she's an idealistic 16-year-old girl.
Exactly. And she doesn't appreciate this until the end of the story. And Koza says the line in, like, I believe it's the flashback. He says to her, "You must become a true princess."
Mm-hmm.
And that's understanding your role, when to play it, and when to let other people play their roles. That's part of it. That's one. That's one aspect of it. That's one aspect of it. But I'm going to pass it back to you because there's more.
Well, you know,
essentially everything I have is built off of that whole premise. I took that premise and analyzed the entire arc from that lens.
It's interesting because I'm reacting to the entire thing.
Yes.
And right. Yes. So this is going to sound really like naive and stupid after that.
It's okay.
All right. I mean, it really is. Where I'm going next, you're going to think I'm just a total and complete idiot.
It's okay. You want to know what my first note in this doc is?
What?
I love that Luffy got in trouble for eating the food out of the fridge, but Karu, Chopper, and Usopp were all equally as guilty for raiding the fridge. That's my first note on this.
All right.
But
so
there's an entire page before I get to the analysis.
Right after this fight in the desert, we end one 3-volume set.
Yeah.
Open up the next 3-volume set, and I have been very quietly through this whole time paying close attention to the chapter art. I love the chapter cover art. These stories that we just never talk about because they're really not worth talking about, but they're stinking entertaining as all get out, you know. And this is the Django's Dance Paradise Courtroom Boogie, which just stopped me dead in my tracks and had me laughing hysterically. I just absolutely loved that one.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, we go from all that meat and potatoes to the Courtroom Boogie. Yeah.
The gravy.
Yeah. Let me see here. So, you know, Crocodile catches everybody in the cage.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that you know, Luffy is pacing the cage like a caged tiger. Smoker is just sitting there very calmly. He's not wasting his energy. He's not wasting his strength. He's just, you know, waiting to go. You've got experience versus, you know, youth and impulsiveness. Yeah. And Sir Crocodile does just a crap ton of dialoguing.
Yes, he does. And a lot of monologuing.
I wrote dialoguing and I meant monologuing.
Yeah.
What would this arc have been like if he didn't do any of that monologue?
I know, right?
That would have been so interesting how they figured this out and dealt with it if he didn't just tip his hand to everything. But he's the supremely confident and arrogant individual who's been the chess master behind the scenes and has gotten it to the point where everything's going to go his way. So,
yeah.
All right, baby transponder snails. Okay. Baby transponder snails is funny in its own right.
Yeah.
Followed up by not for international phone calls.
Yeah.
I almost wet myself.
I didn't write that down and flip it last time because I knew you were going to mention
that. Oh, God, that was so funny.
I knew you were going to catch that.
I sat there just laughing. Had just
not for international calls. That was
hysterical.
Great. It was hysterical.
Right.
I loved it.
The best cliffhanger picture. I've got to show it. Oh, it's this one right here. The best cliffhanger picture.
See you later, Crap Gator.
Is number 3, knocked out cold in the water with the note for Sir Crocodile. See you later, Crap Gator. Right, Mr. Prince. And I looked at that and I just went, wow. I don't care how arrogant Crocodile is. I don't care what kind of facade he puts on. That would get through to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That would get through to anybody. And that was just a great moment. Is there going to be a running theme of Usopp being dragged by the nose? This is like the third time in the story. It was kind of amusing. Zoro saves Smoker only because he was ordered to. Zoro's attitude is, he'd be fine. Zoro knows he wouldn't be fine.
Yeah.
Zoro knows he would drown in the water and die. And Luffy, he's a bit of I'm still just a little bit puzzled by him on this. His willingness to save people that are clearly out to get him because he sees value. Does he just see value and worth in them as a person, and believes that they're supposed to be saved because they are obstacles to? Well, they're allegedly obstacles to him, surviving. The interesting thing that I found both with Kobe and then a second time with Tashigi is that while he recognizes their authority and that they have a job to do for the Navy, he pretty much says, get out of my way. I have a task to do, or I'm going to go through you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
And both of them choose to get out of the way.
Yeah.
But both of them also see that he's got a slightly different agenda.
And that he's not the same as your crocodiles. He's not the same as your
So, I mean, there's
all I'm trying to not name pirate crews from further on because
well, and these are it's got to be tough, for you to do that.
There's so many.
So, but of course, when you save someone like that, there's I don't want to call it a life debt, but there's like
there's a realization. There's a moment of realization that
they owe you something.
Yeah.
Right.
Smoker's like.
Yeah, and Smoker pays off.
Kind of begrudgingly, but he's like, all right, okay.
And then Tashigi does it when they're all unconscious on the ground, and she orders the Marines, leave them alone, don't capture them. And they're like, but they're right here! And, I love this stuff. Number 4. Yeah.
It's big, bold letters. It's just, Nico Robin? ?
Yeah, I did. I can't read my own handwriting on this. Number 4. I love this page. You got to splash this one.
Yeah, which one?
I freaking loved this spread.
This whole
right
spread
here.
It is fantastic, and real talk. This completely encapsulates all the major players in most of my analysis.
Okay,
legitimately.
This right here.
Yeah.
Okay,
this is a great spread.
So you're splashing it. You've seen
Obviously,
it. You splash right. Okay, those who lament war, those who fight, those who incite war, and those who, knowing the truth, want to stop it. And the thing about this is the artistry of Oda, just the mastery of this medium. Is that you go through this rollicking thing, and then you get a page like this that is just an absolute stopper.
Yeah.
And the first time that happened to me was the page where I made the connection between the generations of D's early on.
Yes.
And I absolutely love these moments because this is just incredible work. Right. Kung Fu Dugongs saved the day with the crab.
Kung Fu Dugongs.
Yeah, they were hysterical.
I love the Dugongs. Okay. That's so good. I would be a Kung Fu Dugong in live action.
I
almost want to send in an audition for it. Hi, I'm Noah, and I'm auditioning to be a Kung Fu Dugong.
Ha! 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 When I read Karu's Supersonic Duck Squadron,
I knew that was going to get you. I knew that was going to get you.
I sat back in the store and just started laughing out loud. I mean, one of those true, just out loud. I'm all by myself.
I knew the Supersonic Duck Squadron would get you.
And so the note that I made to myself was, does the brilliant madness ever end? And this is one of the things that you go from this to that.
Yes, you go from something so serious to something so goofy.
Right. Angry Man Chopper looks a lot like an angry Luffy. There was a note that I made, and this one is, picture-wise, it's a fun one. It's worth pointing out. Is that picture right there.
Yeah.
That looks like Luffy.
That just looks like Luffy.
Yeah. It does. It's just one of those things, And it's not even a flaw. It's just a thing I noticed, you know. I really enjoy the development of Chopper, and there's so much more to develop, And the development of Chopper is a delight to watch, and watching him in his battle against Mr. Four and Mole Lady, was a tremendous amount of fun. I hate the voice that they give Chopper in the anime.
English dub?
English dub.
Okay.
Only because I think the voice should be different when he's in human form.
Yeah.
Because it should be deeper and it should be more menacing. You can go back to the light, squeaky voice, but you got this big, hulking, muscular. This is just a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Your mom and I watched a lot of the anime just recently. All right. So I had a moment. Lasso eating the mut fruit, the dachshund type, which is just a riot. Okay, that's funny. But the devil's fruit early on in this whole thing has gotten as ridiculous as the Batman series.
Yes.
It just has.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Batarang, bat shield, bat hook, bat cuffs, bat gauge, bat homing transmitter, bat communicator, bat key, adhesive bat bomb, bat magnet, bat x-ray detector, bat funnel, alpha soup, bat container, bat file, all-purpose bat swatter, bat pill, anti-lethal fog, bat spray, bat gas tranquilizer spray, anti-blast, bat powder, bat wig, and the Batnasia gas. Yes, I looked them all up. And I have to tell you that is how silly the devil fruit are, and I'm just going to have to live with it being just absolutely silly.
Oda likes drawing silly.
He does.
Likes drawing goofy.
Yeah.
He likes drawing it.
Yeah.
He has stated it a lot.
Usopp is not good at playing whack-a-mole.
Nope.
We've talked about the fact that they win and they find the way to the win. The Sanji Bon Clay fight was interesting in both they're both kicking based fighters. Mm-hmm. And the whole bit about Bon Clay looking like Nami is hysterical.
Yes.
Okay.
It was really funny.
Yeah, that is funny. But Sanji defeats Bon Clay, but he doesn't kill him. All right?
Uh-huh.
And so the note I made is there going to be a dubious friendship? Are we going to see another one of these situations where there's grudging mutual respect that we revisit later? Or is Bon Clay gone for good? This is just something that came to mind because, I don't know how this whole thing is going to play out. But there's one scene that Oda draws, and I don't have a note number, so I don't know if I can look up the picture easily. But Bon Clay is laying flat on his back on the ground, and he's looking up in Sanji. He's saying, "Go ahead and kill me. Go ahead and finish me off because Baroque Works is going to kill me." And Sanji doesn't. He shows him respect. He puts a hand out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's this picture right here, and this is the one. There's nothing, it's a good fight. There's nothing more to be said. But look at the look on his face right there. It's almost evil. It's almost menacing.
It's almost menacing until you start reading the thing and realize he's probably just tired.
Well, it could be. But, I mean, it's the only one that just, made me wonder, how is this going to play out in the future? But Sanji just shows him respect. And I just thought, okay, this is a really cool moment. It says a lot about Sanji, mm-hmm. right? But these are the little seeds that get planted that I notice, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to track all of these, but if
you're building your folder of notes.
Your mom said that we should at some point publish all of my notes. I don't think they would make sense to anybody, but
I don't know about that, but
Nami was an absolute ass kicker Nami was an absolute warrior with her bow staff until she gets into this fight. And then she starts this fight off in a sheer panic running for her life. I was so disappointed, truly disappointed. And then I thought, okay, well, here's the reason why she's not a member of the monster trio. She, this is it. This right here, all questions about Nami ended right then and there for like the rest. She'd have to do something really remarkable for me to reverse that. Mm-hmm. But I hated the climate baton. I know,
Really?
I know that was supposed to be comic relief. It was completely inappropriately timed. It was the wrong place. It was the wrong thing, and I just was disappointed in Oda making that choice. I was just disappointed in the writing.
Wasting fight time.
Yeah.
Right. It is her signature weapon for the rest.
Now, the moment
I get you.
Been waiting for.
All right.
The moment I've been waiting for since like the beginning of this whole journey.
Okay.
All right. And this is hundreds of chapters.
Didn't this journey start in 2023 and it's 2025 now, we're going.
Now I'm in book number 3. All right. The moment right here. Sir Crocodile says, "Don't you know I'm one of the 7 warlords of the sea?" And Luffy says, "Well, if you're one of the 7 warlords, then I'm the 8th. I've been waiting for this. I think I asked you, I don't know if it was on camera or off camera, since that's no a bone of contention. I remember asking...
Only for Robin. Jeez.
I remember asking you if Luffy takes on and defeats all 7 warlords. And it would seem like if he's going to be king of the pirates, he has to. And if he does, he starts with the 7th and works his way up. I mean, so if the warlords of the sea are structured like Baroque works, where the higher up in number you go, the tougher the opponent is.
I will say they are not.
Okay.
They are not structured that way.
Okay. Then that ends that thought, because I'm wondering if he's just knocked out the lowest of the 7 warlords and he fights stronger ones as he goes. But he's clearly knocked out one of the 7 warlords of the sea.
He has.
And he's also staked his claim, I'm good enough to be one of them. And I've been waiting for this because
waiting for him to escalate his status.
Yep. Because he has to if he's going to be king of the pirates.
Yes,
he has to.
It's also the first time he has faced an actual challenge so far. I mean, let's be real. He's been fighting people, and he's not been getting his butt kicked. He hasn't been having the easiest time, but he's been pretty handily beating most of his opponents so far. This is the first time where he has straight up lost fights against a person. He lost 2 fights against Crocodile. This is the first time he has had a challenge. And I think that's very refreshing for a lot of people, is once you hit Alabasta, it's like Luffy actually is starting to run into people who are really making him work for it.
So Luffy fights, Luffy gets manhandled a little bit, and then Luffy finds the weakness, and then Luffy exploits it, and Luffy wins. Yes. He always gets beaten up and roughed up a little bit along the way. This is the first time, where he actually gets it handed to him, and he survives by the graces of other people.
Yes.
Let's say that if Robin didn't save him, he would be dead.
Yeah.
You know. Which is just another one of those things. It's like, okay, what's going on with this character? Because here she saves him when she's clearly working against the interests of Sir Crocodile. Mm-hmm. But really, this was a moment I've been waiting for, and I was really happy to see.
Right, for him to start staking his claim.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is it. This is good.
Sense.
Okay. Pluton. A destructive weapon, an island-destroying weapon. I unintentionally, and forgive me, I had a tiny spoiler on Pluton. I was looking for a simple definition of it online so that I didn't have to dig through the book to find it.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's something, it said it's one of 3 super destructive weapons, and it's a ship. Is what something said, but I mean, I literally, the minute I realized I had unintentionally violated.
You were trying to find the origin of
Pluton,
the word
Pluton,
yeah.
and I wasn't trying to research what it was, and so I know I promised everybody I wouldn't do it, and I really truly was trying to just make it easier to do research, and it makes no sense to me. But when I read this, I said they can't introduce Pluton as this island-destroying weapon and then forget about it forever. You just can't. That would be dumb. All right. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's I've got more stuff, you know, highlighted here, but I don't know that it's really worth going through all of it. Pictures that grab my attention, artwork that I think is really cool. But I opened up with my best comments on this. I really, truly appreciated the resolution.
One of my questions was, because we read to the point where she joins the ship.
Right.
What were your thoughts when they set sail and Robin just walks out of the cabin? Anything?
No.
Did you get that far? Because that was like the last chapter that I asked was us to end on. Was that?
Hang on, because that's way, way back here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's farther than that.
Yeah, it's farther than this. But once I knew who she was, and once she joined the, I knew she was going to
go to my own for a second.
Well, no, I mean, once I knew she was going to join the crew, no, it you know, because I've been waiting for her character to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for her character to show up for a while.
It's after that.
It's this Hina character that really caught my attention. I'm wondering, what is Hina going to do? Holy cow! Yeah, you can see I have no notes on any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really don't. So no, I mean, because I've been waiting for her. You know, she had to be introduced sometime. She had to join the crew sometime.
You're officially introduced to my favorite Straw Hat. I'm just going to get out of the way. Robin is my favorite Straw Hat for reasons you will probably
figure out later.
Very obviously get later on.
Okay.
So, all right. You ready for the rest of the essay?
I hope I didn't disappoint.
No. So, I started with Alabasta seems to be about duty and sacrifice and everything else. And that just happens with all the integral characters, which for me, reading the story, the plot relevant characters for this theme are Vivi, Crocodile, and Koza. And Koza is a key piece of this because what's the saying? A true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him. If we go based on that definition, Koza is a true soldier. And he believes he has a duty and he is willing to sacrifice for what he believes is right. Koza's obviously been deceived this whole time, but this is Oda showing that this conflict has a lot more depth to it than it initially seems. As we read through the story, we get to see why Koza is fighting, why he is rebelling. He truly loves Alabasta, just like Vivi does. He loves its people. That's who he's fighting for. He feels that sense of duty for his people. He even has he's talking to a kid who wants to fight, and he shows the kid, this is the sacrifice one must be willing to make.
And that was a powerful scene. That was a very powerful scene.
Oda poses a question through this whole theming, and that is, what does it mean to be willing to die for something that you believe in? And he's doing this great thing that I think the best authors do, is that he's posing these questions and he's leaving it up to the readers to come to their own determination of it. Because you could do this, you could ask these questions and have 5 or 6 different answers depending on your perspective, but he leaves it up to you, which I think is good writing talent to make you think about it, especially on a reread. If it's entertaining on the first read and you go back and reread it because you like that and you start picking up these things on the reread, that's good writing. He's exploring different meanings and definitions to words and concepts through different characters, showing their own motivations and reasonings and why they have the viewpoints that they do. And this is where I'm just gonna get into it. You have already started to pick up on that. He's been doing it. What does it mean to be a pirate? And you just pointed out another one. What is justice? And without getting into what comes later, the definition of justice is getting explored a lot in later through other characters.
Okay.
So I've been waiting, and I think this was the perfect time because I didn't want to I wanted to figure out how to say it, but you're on the right track with paying attention to these what does the pirate flag mean? What does it mean to be a pirate? Because Oda shows so many different facets to these meanings.
Yes,
He's
he does.
showing you
yes, he does.
what it means to different characters. And I think that just makes the characters better overall, because you start to see the depth of more characters because you're exploring a familiar topic through them. Anyway, in Alabasta, the whole arc, he's exploring this meaning of duty and sacrifice. I like Crocodile as a villain because he's brains and brawn.
Yes.
He's got the plans. You can expose his plan, and then guess what?
It's still going to work.
He's still just going to take over.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to go out of his way. That's why Vivi was always destined to fail in her mindset, because she was not going to be able to beat Crocodile. If she could expose all his plans, she could expose him to the world government. Guess what Crocodile would do? Escape or fight. Because he's got the power to back up.
Right.
At least at this stage. He has the power to back himself up. He could get away with what he's doing. You know, that sort of thing. You have to overcome Crocodile. You have to beat him in order to win. He can't be beaten just through intelligence. He needs to be beaten with force. I love the moment in the Oasis where she's talking to Toto.
Yeah.
Which I believe is a reference to Africa, the song.
Could be. Yeah.
Copyright. And I've heard people say that is a reference to it, but I have no idea. She tells him that she will stop this rebellion. And you get this great reaction shot of the Straw Hats. And they've heard this multiple times already. But at this point, it was really important. I noticed it. At first, the first couple times she says, I'm going to end this rebellion, I'm going to end this civil war, I'm going to save Alabasta. They're like, and we're going to help you, because that's what friends do. But in the Oasis, they're looking skeptical. Like, they're not starting to buy it. They're starting to, get to where Luffy already is. The whole, you're not in the right mindset to do this, you are not going to succeed at this.
Read that stanza right there at the top of the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, the Straw Hats are realizing at that point that her way is probably not going to be the right answer. She's too idealistic. It's funny to me that Luffy, as carefree and naive as he is the first to, immediately be like, you're being naive. It's just funny. It's a nice juxtaposition.
The king of naive is,
Yeah. He says, stopping the rebels isn't going to stop Crocodile. This is incredible foresight from Luffy. The line, people die. Even I can see what needs to be done here.
Right.
That's a statement coming from Rubber Boy.
Doesn't there's a follow-up line. The follow-up line comes from Zoro, I believe.
Of course it would come from Zoro.
Where? Okay, let me find it. Keep talking, and then I'll find it and I'll show it to you.
With that section, Luffy is learning slowly. He's been learning the responsibility, and here's where I say it again. Take a shot every time I say the word duty of his leadership. He's learning his responsibility and duty as a leader.
Figuratively, don't drink that much.
Yeah, don't, please. This is one of the first big signs that Luffy is growing as a captain and a leader. And Vivi, again, thinks that this is very much her responsibility and her burden, but it's not. Because she's a bad leader.
She's an inexperienced
leader because good leaders know how to disseminate duties to those around them and below them. They understand the strengths and weaknesses of those around them. They need to trust those around them to perform their duties. They also need to trust their people's experience and their capabilities. Crocodile, as evil as he is, actually understands this. Unironically, in that regard, he is a better leader than Vivi at this point in time. The only thing that he lacks is compassion for his underlings and trust in his underlings.
He lacks both. In fact, he counts on their failures.
He counts on their failures.
And they are also 100% expendable.
Exactly. Koza is also a better leader than Vivi. He understands what his men are sacrificing for their cause. He only lacks the wisdom and experience to see a different perspective, to see the possibility. He lacks what is the lack of an ego? He's too almost full of himself to believe that he's been tricked. He's too headstrong.
Okay.
He lacks the mindset to be willing to believe that he's been manipulated. He even realizes this because he states, "I guess I haven't changed much since I was a kid." After he does a flashback where he gets manipulated. He has seen firsthand how kind Cobra as a king is. He's still falling for the plot. He's still falling for Crocodile's tricks. He wants to believe that the king has the best intentions, but in his pursuit, he's falling into the trap. Cobra in this story is the only person with what all three are missing. He's got the perspective, the experience, and the compassion to make a good leader.
He's been a very successful leader with the exception of allowing this whole plot to unravel around him.
He's not naive like Vivi. He has compassion and empathy for his men. He's willing to sacrifice his position as king to achieve victory and save his country. And he says the people are the country.
Yes.
This is Vivi's selflessness, Crocodile's tact, and Koza's passion all in one.
Okay.
The theme of duty and sacrifice is further explored when Smoker is saved by the Straw Hats and lets them go. Zoro is the one to tell Vivi she's the only hope to preventing the armies from clashing, which means she has to survive. And that's the point where she's first told, no, you are not allowed to sacrifice yourself in this instance because you are the only hope we have of stopping these two. You are the only one who can talk to both sides and get them to stand down.
Right.
Which she still doesn't. Not in that moment.
No, not in that moment, but ultimately she
not in that moment. Luffy and Crocodile also, around this same time, are both in complete agreement about her naivety. It's really funny. It's a very interesting moment. And I think it's the first time Luffy has wholeheartedly agreed with the villains. With the villain in front of him. Mm-hmm. Like, he actually did. And it's just really cool to see Luffy developing more. Tashigi is showing, as you were saying, her personal sense of duty.
Right.
And if the Navy is supposed to protect the nations of the world, she either sees pirates as a greater threat than the civil war going on, or she's blind by her sense of duty. In that initial moment when she's told. Because what does she do? She says, go arrest the Straw Hats. She doesn't have Smoker's perspective. She hasn't seen what they're doing. But
Tashigi has one definition of piracy handed to her
by Smoker. Yeah. In the world,
just the Navy in the world, and Tashigi's
Smoker's not helping it.
Tashigi's understanding of the expanded definition of piracy is going to be developing just a little bit slower than the readers. She's like,
oh yeah, 100%.
But you're going to watch her go through the same thing.
Yeah, it's also that moment of she's left with a choice. You can either go stop the Civil War, or you can go arrest a crew of pirates.
Right.
Small-time pirates.
Right.
What's the priority there? Apparently it's pirates, initially. Apparently it's pirates.
That's all she knows. But
I know. Blinded to her sense of duty. That was my initial point. The whole theme of this is duty and sacrifice, and eventually she comes around and learns that duty is more than this. Nami, doubling down on the sacrifice, meaning everyone's sacrificing something to resolve their fights.
Right.
And for the most part, the King's elite guards, more duty and sacrifice. Mm-hmm. The guys that show up, it's all more duty and sacrifice. Tashigi was blinded by her duty. This is my next note, and her soldiers lost because of it. And eventually she comes around in understanding. I believe it's Luffy says, if we die, we die. Someone says, if we die, we die. And the Straw Hats sacrificed recognition for their deeds to fulfill their duties as Vivi's friends. And to keep themselves out of the spotlight. But they just wanted to help Vivi.
Yes. And they have for a long time.
Yes.
It's taken them a long time to get to this point.
The whole thing is duty and sacrifice is essentially the point I'm getting at. It is explored through multiple different characters who all embody an aspect of each. You see it everywhere. You see it in Pell. You see it in Ingram. You see it in Cobra. You see it in Vivi. You see it in the crew. The whole thing of Alabasta is your sense of duty and sacrifice. And that's my analysis on the Alabasta arc. Tune in next week. Anyway. Not that I have that much more to talk about, but that's my big takeaway.
No, I see it. No, I get it.
That's the I get it. That's the big takeaway. That's what this arc was exploring.
I'm enjoying, truly enjoying, learning from you in your chance to reread and to revisit something that you've done so well, as I'm trying to digest, the first time
what the actual plot is.
You're trying
I'm like, I know the plot, so what's
going on here? Here's the thing that I was. It just took me a bit to find it, but while you were talking, stopping the rebels isn't going to stop Crocodile.
Yep.
Right. There's nothing we can do at the palace. We're better off not to go there. And here it is. It's somehow he makes a lot of sense for an idiot. Yeah, I guess that's Sanji who says that.
It, yeah.
And then Usopp says that's Luffy.
Yeah. But and then you get the rest of this stuff. The big fight and everything. It's Alabasta is where it kind of not only just expands the scale, but the stakes are shooting up.
Yes.
We would be remiss. I learned from Drum Island. I learned my lesson from Drum Island. We didn't mention the when does a man truly die line. Well, we would be completely remiss and flamed in the comments.
Scolded us on that one.
Okay. I understand it. I understand. All right, we cannot talk about Alabasta without talking about that fucking X on their arm. And the significance of that moment. The X on their arm at the very end where they're like, we can't. It's a heartfelt moment. It works great in the anime as well because they play this like happy music.
Right. So what did you want to say about the X at the end?
I needed to bring it out. I just needed to bring it up. Well, I don't know if you had any thoughts on it. I mean, it's one of those, it's not a complete tearjerker, but it is a bit of an eyes-watering moment. Just because Vivi has been with you for so much of the story at this point, and she's so upset that they have to leave her behind because she would love to go with them.
Sure, there's a part of her that would love to, but she knows her sense of duty.
Yes, but it's the line that is will you still call me your friend? That's the line that is kind of like,
oh, gotcha.
That's the line that's a little bit like, ooh, that's a.
So was that X a tattoo or just a mark they all made?
It was just a mark, and it was their way of identifying themselves because they realized Bon Clay and that whole situation, which is a very smart way of doing it. The bandage plus the X because it worked. They could show you the.
It's not just me. I can see your eyes.
No.
It's not just me. It's not just me because I don't know.
You wait. You wait.
He put a tile up of me going, I'm crying, and I just thought, oh, you son of a gun.
You were just. But
so anyway,
it's just a very powerful moment in the series.
So when I first saw the bandage. Mm-hmm. I took it as they're all wearing a bandage under their clothing.
Yeah.
And so that if they have to show it's really me, they can show the bandage.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me that the bandage was covering the true mark.
Yeah. To be fair, they don't show it at first. They do not show it at first.
That was hidden till the end.
Yeah.
Did Vivi had that mark too, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Right. Okay. So if the mark was permanent, if it was a tattoo that was permanent, then they could never deny her as a friend. They have a mark of eternal bonding and friendship.
Yeah.
If it's not,
but it was their way of saying, yes, we will.
Right. So yeah, I think I would have been happier if it was a real tattoo that stayed forever.
That's fair. Fair.
I'm assuming that we see their arms in the future and the X isn't there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah.
But
Robin showing up at the very end. I wanted to show you she shows up on the ship. Everyone's like, gun, swords, everything.
Right, yeah.
And then she starts one by one. Nami's like, I don't trust you. Here's some money. Oh, Sanji. Chopper starts tickling him. And Luffy.
Right.
And all of them. And they're all like, I don't trust you. Okay, well, here's the one thing that will get you to instantly trust me. The scene where Luffy turns around and he's like, I'm Chopper. I want to show you the anime version of because it's hysterical.
I'm wondering if I missed this part.
I'm wondering if you didn't read it. Did you see her on the ship? Join the crew after they get away?
I honestly don't remember it.
I said the chapter.
I read through the chapter that you told me to read through.
Mm-hmm.
So if that was in that chapter, then I'm just not remembering.
Okay.
And part of that is just because the sheer
sheer volume.
And then today, I hit that one point today where I realized what I wanted to say, and then I kind of just put it all to bed.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get the reread on that, and I apologize.
No, that's all good. I will say I love Ace. Ace is one of my favorite non-Straw Hat characters.
Okay.
Ace is great. I wanted to quickly bring up, because I don't know if it's in this one, if it has been fixed. But Ace's original design, does he have the skull and crossbone on his back in this book?
I think so.
Because in his original design, it was the Hindu version of the original swastika. Yeah.
Oh, why does that sound familiar?
I think I've mentioned it before. When I was talking about the differences between how Japan would do stuff like that. But it was legitimately meant as he has the big tattoo on his back that they say is the Whitebeard pirate symbol.
Right.
It was originally that, and then I think it was the editor's pressure that was like, hey, yeah, we should change that because that's not going to do well overseas. People aren't going to understand that.
Well, he's got a worldwide. I can find it very quickly.
Audience, yeah.
He's got a worldwide audience, and the editors are smart to pay attention to that because as business people, you here. Yes, no, it's a combination of both actually.
Nope, that's straight. Well, it always had the skull.
It always had the skull.
It is straight up still that. Okay, it gets changed to a two bones and a cross, like a plus sign.
Okay, so you know what? It didn't faze me at all.
I think when more people,
Okay, so I did make a note early on. Ace behaves a lot like Luffy where food is concerned.
Yep.
You can tell they're brothers, right? Where eating is concerned. Even the artwork, the puffy cheeks, the talking and the food spitting out, the whole thing. But here's the intro to it right there.
Yeah.
Larger than life.
Yeah, see, symbol on his back is an ancient Buddhist symbol, not a swastika.
Right.
Editor. Yeah.
So
it's...
I was visiting a friend in Colorado, and his father-in-law, I think it was his father-in-law, at this point I could be mixing stories, had a postcard. And I took a picture of it at one time. He had a postcard. You used to be able, in the United States, to buy postcards with that Hindu symbol on it, with the explanation of what it is.
Yeah.
And they did not go away until World War II with the rise of the Nazi Party.
Yeah.
But as late as the 1920s in the United States, you could buy those symbols with no problem.
Yeah, because it was that's what it originally was. I was just wanting to know if it was still
it's in there
in the prints.
Yeah. Well,
that's interesting.
And so, well, Dan Brown's it's in the beginning of the Da Vinci Code. Mm-hmm. Where Tom Hanks's character talks about that and gives the history of it. And this is one of those things that you can have
different cultures and different.
Well, you can have a knee-jerk reaction to something based on your knowledge.
Yes.
But if you get more information, that you have to incorporate that information and maybe alter your worldview just a little bit.
Yep.
And understanding that there's a history to that symbol that predates Nazi Germany, you have to then expand your understanding, and maybe your knee stops jerking as much. And that applies to every facet of life. So by the time I got to that, I was like, ballsy, but like,
jeez.
But I mean, that was what my reaction to it was.
Okay. Ballsy. Wow. Okay, that's a reaction. It does get changed. I think in this one I think it's more of a rumor because I don't think it was ever confirmed. But the reason Pell survived is because he was initially not supposed to come back. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think it's a very, very. If it's a rumor, it's a very, very widespread rumor.
Yeah.
But do you know when Alabasta was being aired?
When?
Or was being written? 2001. So you have a character from a desert country who flies in the air and blows up. There's the rumor is that the editors were like, he needs to survive.
Was he
because it came out before that.
Was he a mythical creature being?
I think he said mythical Zoan.
Yeah.
Which is like a legend. It's a legendary.
Right. I got the feeling that the explanation was that he can't be killed.
No, that's not what it was.
Okay.
It was just his devil fruit was very special.
Gotcha.
Whoever had the mythical
Gotcha.
one. But
okay.
Yeah, that's kind of Alabasta.
Alabasta was fun.
Yes, it is. I love stuff like using Karu as bait. I love Bon Clay as a character. I just love Bon Clay as a character.
I reluctantly liked Bon Clay as a character. I begrudgingly enjoyed Bon Clay. There's something about Bon Clay that's just... I guess it's the artwork is just a little... It's like for the same reason I don't like the Rugrats, unpleasant to look at. Bon Clay as a character is unpleasant to look at.
That was not the comparison I thought you were going to make when you said artwork, but okay. Comparing it to Rugrats.
Well, no,
I know you don't like the... Yeah.
I just don't like... All I'm saying is, there's no other comparison between the characters other than the artwork.
That's a... Yeah.
But...
you just don't like how he's drawn. Okay.
Yeah, and that's just it. Other than that, the unpleasantness of that, I had a picture of my bookshelf, and I wanted to show it to you, and I'll have to send it to you. And you are part of the reason why this exists. I have a bookshelf that now has a row of One Piece about this big. And I was given from my mom for Christmas the same gift card you were given, right?
Yes.
And it's a gift card to a bookstore. And the minute I was like, oh, I know what I'm getting with this.
Yeah.
More One Piece. But it's just, I mean, what a ride. What an absolute ride.
All right. Well, next is Yeah, I know there's a pre-arc to it, but next is essentially Skypiea. So
okay, I'm going to reread the tail end in the book sequence.
Yeah,
and just to catch up, and it'll just be a little light reading. But I'm looking forward to diving into the next.
I am too. Skypiea. Yeah. I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts on Skypiea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is one of those that I think. Skypiea is very interesting because a lot of people don't like it on their first go through, and they like it better in retrospect and realize its importance in retrospect.
Gotcha.
So I'll be interested to see how you're going to react to it based on everything you've reacted to so far.
Okay.
So I'm very excited. To be fair, the anime run of Skypiea is
you know what, I'm not watching.
Very bad, but it was very, very long. But the in the manga, I like it a lot more. I typically skip over some of the fights because the fights drag just a tad.
Right.
Sometimes, in full honesty, I do skip over some of the fights, the pre-fights leading up to the big fight, but. This time I'm doing a full read through. So
gotcha. All right.
But all right, yeah, we've blabbed on long enough.
Your thoughts on Alabasta? Join in. Remember, y'all are so wonderful about putting a spoiler warning so that I can skip over them.
Yes, you are.
And thank you. But I love reading what you have to say.
And hey, thank you everyone who watched the Drum Island video. At the end of the Drum Island video, you know, we are closing in on 5,000 subscribers. When I mentioned that last time, we did get a surge. I wanted to say thank you guys. Thank you so much. It's fun to be able to make these videos and continue making these videos. So if you want to be notified when the next ones go up, you know, you can also hit that subscribe. We are really close. Almost there. Appreciate you guys, though, either way.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches.
Bye-bye. Functioning.
Revved.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
$3.
Here we go.
All right. Ready for this? Hold on. I'm going to show you one thing before we get started.
If you saw the last one thing he showed me before we started.
Here are my notes on Alabasta.
These notes rival my printed pages.
Yeah, on this one I put a lot into it. Okay, you ready?
All right, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.